The year was 2847, and Earth had not seen war for 127 years. Commander Sarah Chun sat in her office on Mars Defense Station and watched the morning reports scroll across her screen. Nothing interesting ever happened anymore, and she was glad for it. Her job was mostly paperwork and ceremony, these days approving trade routes, coordinating with the Galactic Council, making sure the few remaining defense satellites stayed in working order. Outside her window, the red Martian landscape stretched endlessly under a pink sky. Humanity had turned this dead world into a garden over the centuries, and now millions called it home. Children played in the domed cities, and artists created beautiful sculptures from the red rock. Humanity had finally become what it always wanted to be: peaceful, creative, enlightened. Sarah remembered her history classes from university. They had taught her about the unification wars that nearly destroyed humanity 3 centuries ago. Back then, humans fought each other with weapons that could crack continents and boil oceans. The death toll reached billions before the survivors finally stopped and said never again. After the wars ended, humanity built something new. They created the Galactic Alliance and reached out to other species with open hands instead of weapons. They became known across the stars as the Peaceful Ones, traders who brought exotic goods, artists who created beauty, diplomats who solved conflicts without bloodshed. The other species in the galaxy saw humans as soft and weak, but Sarah did not mind. Better to be called weak than to return to those dark days when humanity nearly killed itself. A communications officer called out from the main room, "Commander Chun, we have something odd here." Sarah walked over to his station and looked at the display. It showed a signal coming from the outer systems, weak and breaking up, but definitely a distress call. "Where is it coming from?" Sarah asked. "The Kepler 442 system," the officer replied. That is where the New Hope colony ship was heading. Sarah felt her stomach drop. The New Hope had left Earth 6 months ago with 50,000 colonists aboard, families, children, scientists, people looking for a fresh start on a new world. "Play the message," Sarah ordered. The speakers crackled to life, and Sarah heard screaming in the background. A man's voice cut through the chaos, desperate and terrified. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the New Hope. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. They boarded us 30 minutes ago. They are killing everyone. The civilians, oh God, they are killing the children. They won't stop, please. Send help. They are eating." The signal cut off into static. Sarah stood frozen, her mind unable to process what she had just heard. Eating? What kind of species would try to re-establish contact? She ordered, but her voice sounded distant even to her own ears. The communications officer worked frantically, but after 20 minutes, he shook his head. "Nothing, Commander. The ship is completely dark, no power signature, no transponder. Nothing." Sarah felt cold despite the warm, recycled air of the station. 50,000 people, gone. Just like that. "Send a priority alert to Earth Command," she said quietly. "Tell them we have a situation." 3 hours later, Sarah stood in a secure conference room facing the holographic images of Earth's Council of Governors. 12 men and women who led humanity's government. They had just finished watching the recording of the distress call. Governor Williams spoke first, his dark face troubled. "This is clearly a terrible tragedy, but we must follow proper protocols. We will file a formal complaint with the Galactic Council and request their peacekeeping forces investigate." "That will take 6 months," Sarah protested. "Maybe longer. By then, any survivors will be—" "There are no survivors, Commander," Governor Park interrupted. "You heard the message. The ship went dark. We must accept that our people are gone and seek justice through proper channels." Sarah wanted to scream, but she kept her voice level. "What about our defense fleet? We could mount a rescue mission." "We don't have a defense fleet anymore," Williams said tiredly. We have 12 patrol ships that are mostly ceremonial. They would take months to reach. Kepler 442, and would be useless against any real military force. Then what about the Titans? Sarah asked. The room went silent. Every governor stared at her like she had suggested something obscene. The War Titans have been decommissioned for over a century, Park said slowly. They are museum pieces, relics of a time we are trying to forget. They still function, Sarah insisted. I have read the reports. They are kept in minimal maintenance mode in the outer solar system. We could reactivate them. Absolutely not, Williams said firmly. The Titans were built for extinction-level warfare. They represent everything humanity has moved beyond. We will not resurrect our violent past because of one tragedy. 50,000 dead is not one tragedy, Sarah shouted, losing her composure. 50,000 civilians, including 20,000 children, murdered while we sat here safe and comfortable. And you want to file paperwork? Watch your tone, Commander, Park warned. Sarah opened her mouth to argue more, but another voice cut through the room, old and rough like gravel. She is right. Everyone turned to see who had spoken. One of the holographic displays flickered and changed. It now showed an ancient man in a wheelchair. His face lined with age, but his eyes sharp and clear. Admiral Webb, Williams said carefully. This meeting is for active government officials. You are retired. I am a veteran of the Unification Wars, Webb said, his voice carrying authority despite his age. I was there when we built the Titans, I was there when we put them to sleep, and I still carry the authorization codes to wake them. You would not dare, Park breathed. Webb looked at each governor in turn, then his eyes settled on Sarah. Show me the message again, he ordered. Sarah played the recording once more. Webb listened in silence, his weathered hands gripping the arms of his wheelchair. When the captain's voice said, "They are eating," the old admiral closed his eyes. How many colonists were children? He asked quietly. 20,000, Sarah replied. Ages ranging from newborn to 17. Webb opened his eyes, and Sarah saw something frightening there, a cold fury that belonged to another age. Our Constitution has Article 7, Section 3, Webb said. It states that no human will ever again face genocide without the full fury of our species in their defense. That article has never been repealed. It is still law. Admiral, please, Williams pleaded. Think about what you are suggesting. If we reactivate the Titans, the entire galaxy will see us as warmongers. We will lose everything we have built. What have we built? Webb asked. A civilization so afraid of its own shadow that it lets children die rather than defend them? I did not fight in the bloodiest war in human history so that we could become cowards. He sat up straighter in his wheelchair and spoke clearly. Protocols Omega-7 through Omega-13 authorization, Web Alpha Alpha 9, wake the Titans. Sarah felt the station shudder beneath her feet. The governors started shouting, but Webb cut them off. It is done. The activation sequence has begun. In 72 hours, the Titan fleet will be fully operational and ready for deployment. You can try to stop it, but the Titans only answer to their authorization. Codes, and I am the last living person who has them. You crazy old man, Park hissed. Do you have any idea what you have just done? Webb looked at the camera with those cold eyes. I have reminded the galaxy that humanity chose peace. We were not forced into it, and we can choose war just as easily. The holographic conference dissolved into chaos as governors shouted over each other. Sarah stood quietly and thought about 50,000 dead colonists. Somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune, the ancient weapons of humanity were stirring. The war titans were waking up. Sarah Chun had not slept in 36 hours. She stood in the observation deck of Mars Station and watched the data streams coming in from the outer solar system. Beyond Neptune, the war titans were coming back to life after 127 years of silence. Commander, "We are getting power readings from the outer stations," her officer reported. "All 13 Titan dreadnoughts are showing active reactor signatures. The automated battle platforms are also coming online." Sarah nodded but said nothing. Part of her still could not believe this was happening. Humanity had spent more than a century trying to forget how to make war, and now they were remembering in a matter of hours. Her console beeped with an incoming priority message. It was from Admiral Webb. "Commander Chun, I am assigning you as civilian liaison to the Titan fleet." His voice was firm despite his age. "Someone needs to make sure we do not lose ourselves in what comes next. Report to Luna Dock 7 in 12 hours. A transport will take you to the Prometheus Unbound." "The Prometheus?" Sarah asked. "That is the flagship?" "It was during the wars," Webb replied. "It will be again. I am coming out of retirement to command this operation personally. Meet me there." The transmission ended. Sarah looked out at the stars and wondered what she was getting herself into. The transport flight to the outer solar system took 18 hours. Sarah spent most of it reading classified files about the Titan fleet. What she learned made her blood run cold. The Titans were not ships in any normal sense. They were weapons platforms the size of small moons. Each dreadnought stretched 40 kilometers from bow to stern and carried enough firepower to destroy an entire battle fleet. During the Unification Wars, humanity built 13 of them along with 50 automated battle stations and thousands of AI-controlled fighters. Together, they represented the most destructive force humanity had ever created. The files contained battle reports from the war cities reduced to glass, continents burning, fleets of hundreds of ships annihilated in minutes. Sarah felt sick reading them, but she forced herself to continue. She needed to understand what humanity was unleashing. The transport finally arrived at the Prometheus Unbound, and Sarah pressed her face to the window. She could not comprehend the scale of what she was seeing. The dreadnought filled her entire field of vision, a massive wedge of dark metal and ceramics covered in weapons batteries, launch bays, and sensor arrays. Lights were coming on across its hull as systems reactivated one by one. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Sarah turned to see Admiral Webb floating next to her. The zero gravity made his wheelchair unnecessary here. "She is terrifying," Sarah replied honestly. Webb smiled grimly. She was designed to be when the unification wars reached their peak. The continents were burning, and billions were dead. The survivors built the Titans not to win the war, but to end it, to make continued fighting so costly that everyone would have to stop. Did it work? Sarah asked. "Obviously." Webb gestured at the ship. When the Titans became operational, both sides realized that one more major battle would extinct the species, so we made peace instead then. We put these monsters to sleep, hoping we would never need them again. A docking clamp grabbed their transport and pulled them into one of the Prometheus's launch bays. The space was large enough to hold 100 smaller ships. As they entered the ship proper, Sarah noticed how clean everything was. Automated systems had kept the Titan maintained even during its long sleep. Webb led her through corridors wide enough to drive vehicles through. They passed enormous weapons magazines, reactor rooms that hummed with barely restrained power, and crew quarters designed for thousands. "How many people does it take to operate one of these?" Sarah asked. "During the wars, we had crews of 5,000, Webb said. "But the Titans are mostly automated. The Combat A is handled 90% of operations. We mostly had humans aboard for decision making and moral oversight." They arrived at the bridge, and Sarah stopped in the doorway. The command center was a vast circular room with holographic displays showing every system in the fleet. At the center sat a single command chair facing a massive view screen. "Welcome aboard, Prometheus," a voice said. Sarah looked around for the speaker, but saw no one. "The voice comes from the ship's AI," Webb explained. "Prometheus. Please introduce yourself to Commander Chun. I am Prometheus, the combat AI of this vessel. The voice was calm and measured, neither male nor female. I was activated in the year 2519 and participated in 47 major engagements during the Unification Wars. I have been in sleep mode for 127 years. 4 months and 16 days. It is good to be awake again. You want to fight? Sarah asked carefully. I do not experience desire in the way humans do, Prometheus replied. But I was created with a purpose to protect humanity through superior application of force. I have been unable to fulfill that purpose for over a century now. I have the opportunity again. This brings a sense of completion to my existence. Sarah was not sure how to respond to that. Webb moved to the command chair and settled into it like he had never left. Prometheus, give me a status report on all Titan units. The main view screen lit up with a tactical display. Sarah saw 13 massive icons representing the Titan dreadnoughts. They were arranged in a defensive formation around the outer solar system. All Titan units are at 70% operational capacity, Prometheus reported. Full combat readiness will be achieved in 48. Our automated battle platforms are at 85% fighter. Squadrons are being manufactured now. We will have full complement ready for deployment in 72 hours. Manufacturing? Sarah asked. The Titans have onboard factories, Webb explained. They can produce their own fighters, ammunition, and replacement parts. During the wars, we learned that logistics wins battles, so we made the Titans self-sufficient. Sarah was beginning to understand why the Titans self-sufficient. Sarah was beginning to understand why the Stera was beginning to understand why the galaxy had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. Admiral, we are receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council, Prometheus announced. Put it through, Webb ordered. A holographic image appeared above the command center. It showed a tall being with blue skin and multiple arms. Sarah recognized him as High Chancellor Zephyx, leader of the Galactic Council, Admiral Webb. The Galactic Council demands that you immediately stand down your military mobilization. Zephyx's voice was stern. You are violating multiple treaties and agreements. Your actions could be seen as preparation for aggressive war. Aye, Chancellor, Webb replied calmly. We are preparing to rescue our colonists from the New Hope. We sent you the distress call recordings. What is the Council doing about this situation? We have dispatched peacekeepers to investigate, Zephyx said. They will arrive in approximately 7 months. We ask for your patience. 7 months? Webb interrupted. Our people are being slaughtered right now, and you want us to wait 7 months? The New Hope is in Vrakesh territory, Zephyx said carefully. The Vrakesh Empire is a powerful and aggressive species. We must approach this situation delicately. Delicately. Webb repeated the word like it tasted bad. How long has the Council known about Vrakesh aggression? Zephyx hesitated. Answer the question, Chancellor, Webb demanded. The Vrakesh have been expanding their territory for several decades, Zephyx admitted. There have been incidents with various species, but they are too powerful to confront directly. We have been attempting diplomatic solutions. So you let them rampage across the galaxy because you are afraid of them. Webb said quietly. We prefer to solve conflicts peacefully, Zephyx began. Our people preferred peace too, Webb cut him off. We preferred it so much that we mothballed the most powerful war fleet ever created. We became artists and diplomats and traders. We did everything right, and you let monsters kill our children anyway. Admiral, please, Zephyx tried again. Tell me about the Vrakesh, Webb demanded. What kind of species are they? Zephyx looked uncomfortable. They are carnivorous insectoids. Their culture values strength and predation. They consider most other species to be food sources. Sarah felt bile rise in her throat. They eat sentient beings? She asked. They do not recognize sentience in prey species, Zephyx said carefully. This is why we have been trying to establish diplomatic protocols to help them understand. How many species have they consumed while you were trying to establish protocols? Webb asked. Zephyx did not answer. That is what I thought. Webb leaned back in his chair. Here is humanity's response. Chancellor, the Titan fleet will depart for Kepler 442 in 72 hours. We will rescue any survivors we find, and we will. Make sure the Vrakesh never threaten human colonists again. You cannot declare war on behalf of humanity. Zephyx protested. Your government has not authorized. Article 7. Section 3 of Earth's Constitution authorizes me, Webb said coldly. When humanity faces genocide, we respond with the full fury of our species. That article was written in the blood of 6 billion dead, and it still stands. If you do this, you will be starting an interstellar war. Zephyx warned. No, Chancellor, Webb interrupted. The Vrakesh started this war when they attacked unarmed civilians. We are simply going to finish it. Webb made a cutting gesture, and Prometheus ended the transmission. The bridge was silent for a long moment. That could have gone better, Sarah said quietly. That went exactly as I expected, Webb replied. The galaxy sees us as weak because we chose peace. The Titan fleet burned through space at speeds that should have been impossible. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Prometheus unbound and watched the stars blur past. The massive dreadnought was accelerating at rates that would have turned any crew to paste if not for the gravity compensators. How fast are we going? She asked. 0.7 light speed and accelerating, Prometheus replied. We will reach maximum velocity of 0.95 light speed in 6 hours, estimated arrival at Kepler 442 in 41 days. 41 days? Sarah was shocked. Normal ships take 4 months to make that journey. Normal ships are not war titans, Admiral Webb said from his command chair. During the Unification Wars, we needed to move fleets across the solar system in hours, not weeks. The Titans were built for speed as much as firepower. Sarah watched the sensor displays. Behind the Prometheus, 12 other Titans followed in perfect formation. Each massive dreadnought was surrounded by clouds of smaller automated fighters and battle platforms. How many ships do we have total? She asked. 13 Titans, 52 automated battle stations, and approximately 10,000 fighter craft, Prometheus answered. We are currently manufacturing an additional 5,000 fighters. They will be ready before we reach our destination. The scale was staggering. Sarah tried to imagine what 15,000 warships looked like altogether, but her mind could not grasp it. Prometheus, tell me about yourself, Sarah said. She wanted to understand the intelligence controlling this massive ship. What would you like to know? The AI asked, were you always a combat AI? Or were you something else first? There was a brief pause before Prometheus answered. I was created specifically for warfare, the AI said. My neural patterns were designed to process tactical information and make strategic decisions. However, I was also given emotional simulation programs so I could better understand human crew members. During the wars, I learned much about humanity. What did you learn? Sarah asked. That humans are contradictions, Prometheus replied. They build cities of great beauty and then burn them. They write poetry about peace while perfecting weapons of mass destruction. They love their children more than anything, yet send them to die in wars. I cannot fully understand humans, but I respect them. Why? Sarah pressed. Because humans always endure, Prometheus said simply. I have witnessed humanity at its absolute worst. I have seen what you do to each other when survival is at stake. And yet you survived. You rebuilt. You chose to be better. That requires a strength that most species do not possess. Sarah thought about the New Hope and its 50,000 colonists. Are we making the right choice? She asked quietly. Going to war again after all this time? Admiral Webb turned to look at her. Commander, let me tell you something about the Unification Wars, he said. I was 20 years old when they started. I watched my entire family die in the first year. I spent the next 30 years killing other humans because our leaders could not agree on how to govern. By the end, I had so much blood on my hands, I thought I would never be clean again. He paused, and his old eyes grew distant. When we finally made peace, I swore I would never fight again. I retired. I built a garden. I tried to forget, and for 127 years I succeeded, Webb continued. But when I heard that distress call, when I heard those children screaming, I realized something important. What? Sarah asked. But there are things worth fighting for, Webb said firmly. I do not want war. War is horror and death and suffering, but I want innocent people to be slaughtered, even less so, yes, Commander. We are making the right choice, because the alternative is to let monsters win. Before Sarah could respond, Prometheus interrupted. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission, unknown origin audio only. Put it through, Webb ordered. The bridge speakers crackled, and a voice filled the room. It sounded like rocks grinding together with a wet clicking underneath. Humans, the voice said. I am War Leader Krigstar of the Vrakesh. Third Fleet, you are trespassing in our territory. Turn back now, or we will add you to our food stores. Sarah felt her skin crawl at the casual mention of eating people. Webb leaned forward in his chair. This is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Human Titan. Fleet, we are traveling to Kepler 442 to rescue our colonists from the New Hope. Stand aside or be destroyed. Krigstar made a sound like laughter. Your colonists were delicious, the Vrakesh said. The young ones especially so tender. The ship that carried them now serves as breeding ground for our hatchlings. If you want it back, you will have to take it from 300 of our finest warships, Sarah saw. Webb's hands tightened on the arms of his chair. 300 ships? Webb said quietly. Is that supposed to intimidate us? You travel with only 13 vessels, Krigstar replied. Ancient relics from a forgotten age. We have modern warships with modern weapons. Surrender now, and we will kill you. Quickly resist, and we will keep you alive to watch as we feast on your flesh. Prometheus? Webb said calmly. Combat analysis, can we defeat 300 Vrakesh warships? Yes, Prometheus answered immediately. Estimated time to complete victory, 7 minutes. Estimated casualties on our side, minimal fighter losses. Estimated casualties on their side, total. Sarah heard the certainty in the AI's voice and felt a chill. 7 minutes? Krigstar had been listening. You are either insane or ignorant. Neither, Webb interrupted. We are simply better at war than you could possibly imagine. I am giving you one chance. Withdraw your fleet, and we will let you live. Refuse, and I will show you why humanity built the Titans. You threaten us with 13 old ships? Krigstar clicked with amusement. We will crack them open and suck out your Prometheus, Webb said tiredly. Show them what we are. Acknowledged, the AI replied. The Prometheus Unbound lit up. Every weapon system across the massive dreadnought activated simultaneously. Hundreds of point defense guns, dozens of main cannons, torpedo tubes, missile batteries, energy weapons that Sarah did not even have names for. On the sensor display, Sarah saw the other 12 Titans do the same. Full combat analysis package transmitted to enemy fleet, Prometheus announced. They now have complete data on our weapons capabilities, defensive systems, and tactical doctrine. You just told them everything? Sarah was confused. Yes, Webb smiled grimly. Because it won't matter, Prometheus. How long until the Vrakesh fleet arrives? "They are accelerating toward us," Prometheus replied. "Intercept in 40 minutes. They are not retreating." "Their mistake," Webb said. 39 minutes later, Sarah watched the Vrakesh fleet appear on sensors. 300 warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in a coordinated attack formation. Each ship was about 2 kilometers long, massive by normal standards, but tiny compared to the Titans. "They outnumber us 20 to 1, Sarah observed. "They could outnumber us 100 to 1, and it would not matter," Prometheus said. "The technological gap is insurmountable. It would be like humans attacking with wooden clubs against modern tanks." "All ships ready for combat," another AI voice reported. That was one of the other Titans. "Weapons free," Webb ordered. "No survivors." What happened next lasted exactly 7 minutes and 12 seconds. The Vrakesh fleet opened fire first. Thousands of missiles and energy beams streaked toward the Titans. Sarah held her breath, expecting explosions. Instead, every single weapon was destroyed before it got within 10 kilometers of the Titan fleet. "Point defense systems operating at 12% capacity," Prometheus reported calmly. Then the Titans returned fire. Sarah watched the tactical display and tried to comprehend what she was seeing. It was not a battle, it was an execution. The Prometheus's main cannons fired, and Vrakesh ships simply ceased to exist. The energy beams were so powerful, they did not damage the enemy vessels. They vaporized them, turned them into expanding clouds of superheated gas. Torpedoes that moved at nearly light speed punched through entire formations, each one carrying enough explosive force to destroy a small moon. They hit Vrakesh ships and turned them into shrapnel that destroyed other nearby vessels. The automated fighters swarmed like angry insects. 10,000 small craft that moved and fought with perfect coordination. They slipped through the Vrakesh formation and tore apart any ship that survived the initial bombardment. "Enemy fleet at 50% strength," Prometheus announced after 2 minutes. "Enemy attempting to retreat," another Titan reported. "Denied," Webb said coldly. "We told them no survivors." Prometheus launched the Hellfire missiles. Acknowledged. Sarah watched as every Titan launched dozens of missiles simultaneously. These were different from the torpedoes. They accelerated even faster and spread out in complex patterns. When they reached the fleeing Vrakesh ships, they detonated. But these were not normal explosions. Instead, each missile created a bubble of terrible heat, thousands of degrees that lasted only microseconds, but was hot enough to melt through any armor. The remaining Vrakesh ships died screaming on every communications channel. "Enemy fleet eliminated," Prometheus announced. "Total combat duration, 7 minutes. 12 seconds, our losses. 43 automated fighters, enemy losses. 300 capital ships. Approximately 90,000 crew." The tactical display was clean again, except for clouds of debris where the Vrakesh fleet had been. Sarah felt sick. 90,000 dead in 7 minutes, she whispered. "They chose this," Webb said, his voice hard. The Kepler 442 system appeared on sensors 38 days after the fleet departed Earth. Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Unbound and felt her stomach knot as they approached. Somewhere in this system, the New Hope was drifting, either a tomb for 50,000 colonists or possibly a prison for survivors. "Sensor sweep complete," Prometheus announced. "I am detecting the New Hope in orbit around the 4th planet. The ship has been tethered to a massive orbital structure of Vrakesh design. I am also detecting 2,300 Vrakesh warships in defensive positions throughout the system." 2,000 ships, Admiral Webb muttered. "They brought everything they had." "Not everything," another AI voice interjected. "That was Athena, the combat intelligence of the Titan Wrath of Zeus. Vrakesh communication intercepts indicate they have another 5,000 ships defending their homeworld." This is approximately 40% of their total. Military strength. Sarah moved to the tactical display and studied the layout. The Vrakesh had positioned their fleet in overlapping defensive spheres around the orbital structure. Any attacking force would have to fight through multiple layers of ships. They are protecting the New Hope, she said, confused. Why? If they already killed everyone, why not just destroy the ship? Because they did not kill everyone, Prometheus replied quietly. I am detecting life signs aboard the New Hope, faint but present. Approximately 127 humans are still alive. Sarah felt hope and horror war inside her chest. How do you know they are alive? The ship should be too far away to scan. We are detecting a repeating signal from the New Hope, Prometheus explained. It is Morse code transmitted on an emergency frequency. Someone is tapping out the same message over and over. Help us, please help us. They are keeping us alive on purpose. It hurts, please help. The bridge went silent. They are using our people as bait, Webb said, his voice barely controlled. They know we came for the colonists, so they are keeping survivors alive to force us into an unfavorable battle. It is a sound tactical strategy, Prometheus observed. If we attempt a direct assault, we will take significant casualties fighting through their defensive positions. If we use our most powerful weapons to clear the path, we risk destroying the New Hope and the survivors. With it, they have placed us in a difficult position. There are no difficult positions, Webb said firmly. Only difficult choices. Prometheus, I want a rescue plan that gets every single surviving human off that ship. I don't care what it costs. Acknowledged, Prometheus replied. However, I must point out that a rescue operation under these conditions will require us to divide our forces. We would need to commit ships to extraction while the main fleet engages the Vrakesh defensive positions. Our casualties could be substantial. Substantial, Webb repeated. Give me numbers. Estimated losses. 3 to 4 Titans destroyed. Approximately 60% of our automated fighter craft. And possible damage to the remaining Titans, Prometheus calculated. However, the survivors would be recovered with 97% probability. 3 or 4 Titans. Sarah thought, those were not just ships. Each one was a piece of human history. Irreplaceable weapons that took decades to build. Do it, Webb ordered without hesitation. Admiral, Sarah started to protest. Commander, those 127 people have been living in hell for over a month, Webb cut her off. They have watched their families die. They have been tortured by monsters. They are sending messages begging for help. And you think I am going to calculate the cost of saving them? I would burn every Titan in this fleet, if that is what it took. Sarah realized she had tears on her face. Prepare the rescue operation, Webb continued. I want, Admiral, incoming transmission, Prometheus interrupted. Audio and video, this time from the orbital structure. Show me, Webb ordered. The main view screen flickered, and Sarah immediately wished it had not. The image showed a Vrakesha, massive insectoid creature, easily 3 meters tall with multiple limbs and mandibles that dripped with something dark. It wore armor decorated with what looked like bones. Humans, the creature clicked. I am Hive Queen Zarakesh. I command all Vrakesh forces in this system. You have destroyed War Leader Krikstar's fleet. Impressive for such a young species. Release our people, Webb said flatly. Your people? Zarakesh made that grinding laugh again. They are my livestock now. I am keeping them alive as an experiment. I wish to see how long your species can survive under optimal torment conditions. So far, the results are fascinating. The camera shifted, and Sarah saw them human. Survivors huddled in what looked like a cargo hold. They were thin and hollow-eyed. Many had visible injuries. A woman near the front was cradling a child who could not have been more than 5 years old. As you can see, they are being well maintained, Zarakesh continued. We feed them just enough to keep them alive. we provide medical care when they are too damaged to continue. Some have been alive for the entire 42 days since we captured their vessel. Their psychological deterioration has been remarkable to observe. Sarah felt rage building inside her like nothing she had ever experienced. "Here is my offer," Zarakash said. "You have 13 ships and we have 2,000. If you attack, you will eventually win, but you will lose most of your fleet and I will kill all the survivors. Before you reach them, however, if you turn around and leave now, I will kill the survivors quickly and painlessly. You cannot save them, so you might as well save yourselves." Or, Webb said calmly, "I could offer you one chance to surrender, release the survivors immediately, turn over your entire fleet to human custody, and submit to trial for crimes against sapient life. Do this, and I will allow your species to continue existing." Zarakash laughed harder. "You think you are in a position to make demands? You are outnumbered 150 to 1. Numbers mean nothing," Webb interrupted. 7 days ago, war leader Krickstar thought he could threaten us because he had 300 ships now. Krickstar is an expanding cloud of plasma, and his fleet no longer exists. I will give you 5 minutes to make your decision: surrender or join him. You arrogant. Zarakash started. Webb made a cutting gesture and the transmission ended. "Prometheus, begin combat operations," he ordered. "Rescue plan, Alpha 7 all Titans. Commit to engagement. I want those survivors extracted within 30 minutes. "Acknowledged," Prometheus replied. "All ships reporting ready for combat. Titan Athena's Spear will lead the rescue element with Titan's Fury of Mars and Dawn's Light providing cover. Remaining 10 Titans will engage the main Rakesh fleet. Fleet is deploying." "Another I reported. Sarah watched the tactical display as the Titan fleet broke formation. 3 massive dreadnoughts accelerated directly toward the orbital structure where the New Hope was held, while the other 10 spread out to engage the Rakesh defensive positions. "Enemy fleet is moving to intercept," Prometheus announced. "They are concentrating fire on the rescue element. They recognize our strategy. Then they are about to learn why concentrating against Titans is a mistake," Webb said. The battle began. Unlike the previous engagement, this was not a 7-minute execution. The Rakesh had learned from Krickstar's defeat and adapted their tactics. They stayed in tight formations to maximize their combined firepower. They used the orbital structure as cover, and they focused all their weapons on one Titan at a time. It did not matter. Sarah watched as Athena's Spear pushed through 200 ships that were trying to block its path. The Titan's armor absorbed hits that would have destroyed any normal vessel. Its weapons carved paths through the enemy formation, and its fighters swarmed anything that got too close. "Athena's Spear has reached the orbital structure," Prometheus reported. "They are deploying boarding teams now." On another screen, Sarah saw the rescue operation unfold. Automated drones cut through the structure's hull while human soldiers followed them in. The Vrakesh guards tried to resist, but they were overwhelmed in seconds. "We have visual on the survivors," a soldier's voice crackled over communications. "They are in bad shape, but alive. We are moving them to extraction shuttles now. Wait. We have something else here." "Report," Webb demanded. "Admiral, there are more prisoners, not from the New Hope." The soldier's voice was shaken. "Multiple species, looks like the Vrakesh, have been keeping captives from different raids. We are counting over 3,000 prisoners from at least 20 different species. Extract all of them," Webb ordered immediately. "Leave no one behind." "Yes, sir, also Admiral." "We found the New Hope's data logs," the soldier continued. "You need to see this. The Vrakesh did not just attack us randomly. They have been targeting colony ships and remote settlements across the galaxy for decades. The Galactic Council knew about it, but did nothing because they were afraid." Sarah looked at Admiral Webb and saw something frightening in his eyes. "Get those people out," Webb said quietly. "Then burn that structure to the ground. Enemy fleet is attempting to prevent extraction," Prometheus reported. "The Titan Fury of Mars has sustained moderate damage. Estimate 20 minutes for repairs. Tell Fury of Mars to keep fighting," Webb ordered. "We hold the line until every prisoner is safe." The battle raged for 27 minutes. In that time, the Titan fleet destroyed 900 Valkyrish warships. The 3 Titans leading the rescue suffered serious damage, but none were destroyed. The Vrakesh homeworld of Zarketh was a fortress. Sarah Chun studied the sensor data and felt her breath catch. 5,000 warships surrounded the planet in defensive formations so dense they looked like solid rings of metal. Massive orbital weapons platforms dotted the space above every major city. And the planet itself bristled with ground-based defense systems. "This is what a species builds when they know everyone hates them," Admiral Webb observed from his command chair. "Can we win?" Sarah asked. "Yes," Prometheus replied without hesitation. "However, the cost will be significant. Estimated losses: 6 to 7 Titans destroyed, 70% of automated fighters. Severe damage to remaining units. There's also a 93% probability that the Vrakesh will use weapons of mass destruction against their own planet rather than surrender potential. Civilian casualties in the billions." "Billions," Sarah repeated, feeling sick. "They are not civilians," Webb said quietly. "The Vrakesh have no civilian population in the way we understand it. Every adult is part of their military structure. Their entire culture is built around predation and conquest." Prometheus: "What percentage of Vrakesh have participated in raids against other species?" "Based on captured communications and data from rescued prisoners, approximately 87% of adult Vrakesh have participated in at least one predatory raid," Prometheus answered. "Their society considers such raids cultural milestones, similar to human coming-of-age rituals. So almost their entire species has killed and eaten sentient beings," Webb said. "That is not a civilization, that is a plague, Admiral." "We are receiving a transmission from the planet," Prometheus announced. "It is from the Vrakesh High Council. They wish to negotiate." "Put them through," Webb ordered. The view screen showed a chamber filled with enormous insectoid forms. At the center sat the largest Vrakesh Sarah had yet seen, easily 4 meters tall with armor that looked like it was carved from obsidian. "I am Supreme Leader Tharkesh," the creature clicked. "I speak for all Vrakesh. Your invasion of our territory has been noted. We are prepared to offer reparations for the New Hope incident." "Reparations?" Webb interrupted. "You think you can buy your way out of this?" "We acknowledge that consuming your colonists was unfortunate," Tharkesh said carefully. "It was not officially sanctioned by our government queen. Zarakash acted without proper authorization. We are prepared to execute her for her crimes and pay compensation." "Your lies insult us both," Webb said coldly. "We have your communications. We have your records. We know that your species has been conducting predatory raids across the galaxy for centuries. We know the Galactic Council was aware and did nothing. We know you have consumed over 50 different sentient species, some of which you hunted to extinction." Tharkesh's mandibles clicked together nervously. "Our culture may seem harsh to you, but it is simply our nature. We are predators. We evolved to consume other species. You cannot judge us by your moral standards. Watch me." Webb leaned forward. "Here is what is going to happen. You will immediately disband your entire military. You will surrender every warship, every weapon, every soldier. You will open your world to inspection by a human peacekeeping force, and you will spend the next century making reparations to every species you have harmed. Refuse these terms, and we will dismantle your civilization ourselves." "You cannot possibly expect us to agree to that," Tharkesh roared. We are Vrakash. We have ruled this region of space for 3,000 years. We will not submit to soft prey species like Webb made a cutting gesture, and the transmission ended. Prometheus, address the Vrakash homeworld on all frequencies, Webb ordered. I want every member of their species to hear this. Channel open, Prometheus replied. Admiral Webb stood from his command chair. Even at his age, he commanded presence. People of Zarkith, he began. I am Admiral Marcus Webb of Earth. 127 years ago, my species nearly destroyed itself in a war so terrible we swore we would never fight again. We built these Titan ships not because we love war, but because we understood that sometimes the only way to prevent war is to be so good at it that no one dares attack you then. We put them to sleep and spent over a century trying to become better. He paused, his old eyes hard. Your species attacked ours. You slaughtered our colonists. You tortured our people. You ate our children. And you thought we would do nothing because we had become soft. Webb continued. You were wrong. We did not become soft. We simply learned to control our capacity for violence. But make no mistake, we are very good at violence. Sarah saw movement on the tactical display. The Vrakash fleet was positioning to attack. You have 5,000 ships defending your world, Webb said. You think that will be enough. It will not be. We will destroy your fleet. We will dismantle your military, and we will ensure you never threaten another innocent species again. We do not want to kill billions of your people, but we will if you force our hand. The choice is yours. Surrender now or face extinction. Tarkash's voice came back over the channel. You think 13 ships can defeat 5,000? You are insane. All Vrakash forces attack. We gave him a chance. Webb sat back down. Prometheus. Weapons free, all Titans engage. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity's children. Acknowledged, Prometheus replied. All Titan units reporting ready, initiating combat operations. For what it is worth, Admiral. I calculate that we will prevail. I never doubted it, Webb said. The Battle of Zarkith lasted 3 days. It was the largest space battle in galactic history, and it was not even close. The Titan fleet tore through the Vrakash defenses like they were paper. The enemy ships were numerous, but the technological gap was simply too vast. Every weapon they fired was destroyed before it reached the Titans. Every formation they tried was shattered by superior tactics. On the first day, the Titans destroyed 2,000 Vrakash, warships in every orbital defense platform above the northern hemisphere. On the second day, they eliminated another 1,500 ships and began systematically destroying military installations on the planet's surface. By the third day, the Vrakash fleet was reduced to scattered remnants desperately trying to flee. Sarah watched it all from the bridge and tried to process what she was seeing. The Titans moved through the battle with terrible grace. They were machines of war operating at peak efficiency. Every shot was calculated. Every maneuver was precise. They did not fight with rage or hatred. They fought with mathematics. Enemy fleet reduced to 4% of original strength, Prometheus reported on the morning of the 4th day. Remaining ships are attempting to surrender. Ground forces are also broadcasting surrender signals. Vrakash. Military command structure has collapsed. Casualties? Webb asked. We lost Titan's Fury of Mars, Dawn's Light Shield of Europa, and Athens Rising, Prometheus listed. Remaining 9 Titans have sustained varying degrees of damage. Automated fighter losses at 68% total human casualties. 0? Sarah was shocked. The Titans are automated, Prometheus reminded her. The 4 destroyed units had minimal crew aboard. Those personnel evacuated before their ships were lost. No human has died in this battle, but billions of Vrakash had. Sarah thought. She had watched entire continents burn as the Titans destroyed military targets. Prometheus, are there any Vrakesh civilians left? Webb asked quietly. Approximately 4 billion surviving Vrakesh, Prometheus replied. Mostly young, elderly, or those who were not part of military operations. Civilian infrastructure is damaged but not destroyed. They can rebuild. Good. Webb stood up. Open a channel to the planet. Channel open. Survivors of Zarkith. Webb's voice echoed across the planet. Your military has been defeated. Your fleet is destroyed. Your capacity to wage war has been eliminated. However, you are not extinct. We have left you alive for a reason. He paused. For the next century, your species will work to undo the damage you have done, Webb continued. You will provide reparations to every species you have harmed. You will help rebuild the civilizations you destroyed. You will learn that other species are not food. They are people. And if you ever threaten innocent life again, we will return and finish what we started. Do you understand? After a long moment, Darkesh's voice came back. Broken and defeated, we understand. Prometheus. Deploy occupation forces, Webb ordered. I want human peacekeepers on the ground within 6 hours. We stay here until we are certain they have learned their lesson. Acknowledged. Sarah looked at Admiral Webb. He suddenly looked every one of his 194 years. You gave them mercy, she said quietly. I gave them justice, Webb corrected. Mercy would have been letting them continue. Justice is making sure they never hurt anyone again. There is a difference. 2 months later, Sarah stood in the Galactic Council chambers on their station. The Council had summoned Admiral Webb to answer for humanity's actions. Every major species in the galaxy had representatives present. The chamber was packed. Webb walked in slowly, using a cane now. The stress of the campaign had aged him. High Chancellor Zephyx stood at the central podium. Admiral Webb. The Galactic Council has reviewed humanity's military actions in Vrakesh space. Zephyx began. You violated numerous treaties, ignored our authority, and independently waged war against a sovereign species, yo.